You know what's cool about my videos? No interruptions, no ads or nothing. All right, guys, so if you watched my last video, you seen the project that I was working on, building the stand for this 220-gallon aquarium. As you can see here, this is George from my LFS, which is the local fish store. He was kind enough to come to my home and drill these holes in for me. That was me having a little fun in the back. But yeah, he's drilling the holes there in the tank. And this is where the overflow box will be placed. Now, the overflow box is a box that the water goes into, down into the PVC, into the sump, and back into the aquarium, and you'll see what I'm talking about later on in the video. Now, he's done here with drilling the holes. We're getting the glass all cleaned up. And if you have not drilled a tank or been around a tank that's being drilled, I strongly advise that you wear earplugs during this process. It is extremely loud and very obnoxious. So as you see here, here are some of the fittings that I bought to get this plumbing job done. So as you can see there's the overflow box that I was telling you about. So on the aquarium, here's the PVC and the fittings coming down. That's going to go down into the sump. Now, this is I don't want to say it's a difficult job, but it is very time consuming. Okay, so you have to make sure your measurements are on point, and you want to make sure that that they are on point, because once you use that glue, once it's glued, that's it. You're not going to get it apart. So you really want to take your time with this process. So as you can see here, I'm doing some dry fitting, putting the unions on, doing some dry fitting, and just getting the idea of where this is going to go. So really, I wasn't that successful with the dry fitting, because you're going to lose. It's not going to come out dry fitted as it will once you put the glue on. Once you put that glue on, it's going to go in further than what it would when you dry fit. So I found that out early, and after that I just stopped dry fitting, and I measured how much PVC will go into that insert with the glue. So there's a stopper in those valves or the unions, the fittings, the elbows, where the PVC will stop. So I measured where that stop was, and I think it was about 1.25 inches, if I'm not mistaken. And when I measured that, everything went a little smoother. And here it is. I'm measuring this PVC before I cut it and get it glued into place. And I used a miter saw. And if you don't know what a miter saw is, here you go. Now, using that miter saw made this job so much easier. It's a lot faster. It's more precise. And just a overall smoother job than using PVC cutters or a hacksaw or something like that. I mean, it's very quick and easy. The last time I did this, I had to use PVC cutters, and my arms and my hands were extremely tired, locking up on me. And I say, you know what? Never again. And again, and another thing we're using the miter saw, when you use PVC cutters, you have to have some sandpaper or a router or something like that to sand down the ends that you cut for it to insert into the fittings properly. With the miter saw, you don't have to worry about that. You get that saw going real good, bring it down, it's a straight cut, it goes into the fittings with no problem. No sanding, no routing, anything like that. So if you can get your hands on the saw, if you got to do a plumbing job, that is the way to go. As you can see here, I'm getting that primary drain on. This is very important to get this right. This is the drain that the most of the water is going to go through. And if the first one is right, you know, it's going to be easier to get the other two drains into place. All right, so as you can see here, all three drains are installed. It took me about maybe 2.5 hours to get this done. Like I said, it's really not hard work. It's just time consuming because of the measuring. And I want it to be clean. I want it to look neat. Even though this part of the tank is going to be facing the wall, you're not going to be able to see it. I still wanted it to be nothing less than perfect. You know, if I ever have to move anything like that and it is exposed, I want it to look good. I want to know that it looks good, you know, and just taking pride in your work and, you know, making sure everything is top notch. And not only that, you know, you just want it, you know, it's just a peace of mind knowing that you did it. I'm proud of it. You know, I didn't have to pay anybody to do it. And when you do it yourself and it's right, oh man, you know, you can't, that's a feeling that you can't explain. So here we go. Here's the return pump. And the return pump is, you know, the pump that pulls the water from the sump back into the aquarium. And the reason I'm explaining a lot of this stuff because everybody doesn't understand the lingo or what we do as hobbyists, you know, they just don't get everything that we're talking about. I have people ask me questions all the time. Well, what is a sump? What is a protein skimmer? You know, what's the return pump? So some of this stuff I just want to explain so my viewers know exactly what it is, what I'm talking about, or at least I can explain it to the point, you know, once I say it and you see it, they see it, you know, they'll understand where I'm coming from. Okay, so yeah, so I'm pulling everything out the box, getting this all set and ready to go for the install, making sure I have everything. A lot of fittings, not enough instruction, but since I've done this before, I kind of knew what was going on. But I actually got slowed up a little bit, as you can see here. My daughter came in and she's 6, going on 7. And anybody that has kids know what I'm talking about. This girl has a lot to say. And if you pay attention to her, she's saying it. Uh-huh. So, let's get back to getting this installed. But, you know, she wasn't letting me, so I had to take some breaks. Tend the baby girl. So, I had to deal with my daughter. You know, have some fun with her talk, laugh, because I was just putting so much time and energy in this. So I didn't want her to feel, like I was ignoring her. So I got up and I walked away. Then I came back.
All right, Paul.
Plumbed it up real quick. It took me all of a
It's
half an
filled
hour
up.
once I came back. Then
Look
I
like
filled
it's
it up
running good.
with just regular tap water. I wanted to test everything for leaks. I wanted to test the strength of the stand.
I did it again.
This aquarium is 450 pounds, I believe, empty, and then filled up with water.
This is just all tap
probably
water.
triple that. I think
I just wanted to get.
I'm sitting at about maybe a ton, 2,000 pounds or something like that, filled up with water.
So I'm gonna let it run overnight. Come home tomorrow, drain it
test
all
of that. And you don't want to fill it up with salt water, and you have a leak somewhere.
Yeah.
So
yeah, buddy.
Here I am here. After I drained it, now I'm filling it up with salt water. I had 44-gallon brute cans filled up with salt water. And then also I poured the water from the 150 and also bought 30 gallons from the LFS just in case I came up a little short. And I believe I used every drop of that water. So,
boom, there it is, baby. 220 up and running. We got the tank on top of the stand. It's working out perfect. You will never see anybody more proud of a project than I am of this one. I did all of this myself, so I'm super stoked about this project. So I was able to add fish right away, primarily because I switched everything over from the 150 over there and brought it over here. So what that means is that I was able to take all of my substrate, put it in the aquarium, all of the rock, put it in the aquarium, all of the media from that sump into this sump. And for those of you that are watching that don't know what I'm talking about, there's a lot of beneficial bacteria that fish need to survive in the aquarium that's in the substrate, that's on the rock, and in the sump. Without that bacteria, the fish will not survive. So, since I was able to bring that over, that gave me the opportunity to add fish. Now, I didn't want to add too many fish at one time. You don't want to overstock all at once. So, right now, I just got the big lion. Also have my nitro trigger there in the back. And the snowflake eel that's hiding out in here somewhere. So I'll wait another week, maybe 2 weeks, add another fish or two, and just take it along slowly. I also had a hang on the back filter over here that was on the aquarium as well. So it all worked out perfect. Fish are in the tank. So let me show you guys what I'm talking about with the media and everything that's in the sump. All right, so here we are at the sump. This rock here was in the previous sump, so there's a lot of beneficial bacteria that is growing on this rock. Also, the protein skimmer was also over there in that sump, and these sponges here was in the other sump as well. There was new ones in here, but I just took new ones out, brought the cycle ones over here from the previous sump and put them in here. And that is one of the primary reasons, like I said before, that I was able to add fish right away. So this sump is considered cycle, okay? And like I said before, all of the substrate that I brought over, which is the sand and also the rock, The only uh, beneficial bacteria that I missed out on, that I lost, is the bacteria that grows inside the aquarium on the glass. But that will catch up sooner than later. And I also had this hang on the back filter, and there's a bunch of sponges and things in here that has beneficial bacteria as well. So ultimately, I was able to add fish to this aquarium. You do not want to miss out on the fish that is coming to this tank very, very soon. It's very nice. You know what? You will see. You will see. The next videos are going to be very exciting, so stay tuned. I'm going to holla back at y'all. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. Much love. All right? Peace.